Hello there, welcome to the show. It's time for the FACEIT Pro League show, and I'm Dan, joined by James. And he's got a DreamHack shirt on.
James. Trains.
Maybe we'll have some trains today, although it's not too popular, I don't think, in the pickups. Can't stop smiling. Right, yeah, let's take a goosey gander then at the ladders here for FPL and see how things have been going with the players. Let's bring up last month's ladder to see who was topping it then. Ooh.
Oh, we still have this. Someone's going to get fired today, I've decided. Probably Reese.
It's not going to be me.
Probably going to be Reese.
Yeah, and as you guys can see, we've got a lot of the usual suspects. It's always funny to me that Moddy's up there because you don't typically see him do anything.
Well, he's playing for SK now.
Oh, did he just join SK?
Well, he's playing for SK. I don't know if he's joined SK, but
interesting.
He's definitely playing.
Are you trying to flex?
I am. See,
Get in there, the flex
I'm not Dan tier, but you know, I'll go back to gym one day.
Okay, all right, yeah. So pretty much the standard stuff from this this list. The only thing that's interesting, I guess, is that Oskar is a little bit lower and Stiko, but generally speaking, you'd expect that because they've been playing games with Hellraisers, and Hellraisers have been looking for that fifth player, and it's I'm wondering who is going to be the staple, who's going to be part of the staple lineup for Hellraisers. I'm pretty sure the Simple's not really going to stick there again. It would be nice. I think it's kind of fun to watch Simple play with them, but it's quite unlikely.
I feel like at the moment, I'm just writing something down here. I feel like
I have it here too.
I feel like. Oh, okay, well, there you go. I feel like, well, I noticed my nice pen. Often, actually, you see people on analyst desks with some awful pens. Have a good pen if you're going to show your pen on stream, goddammit. Not some crappy big pen from a hotel or something. Anyway.
Anders likes to steal hotel pens, it seems.
Oh, he does?
He's got a ring going.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
I think he's
outsourcing now.
I stole the shoehorn from our room in Cluj.
Yeah.
It's a massive shoehorn. It's like that long. I was like, yeah.
All the secrets are coming out.
I'm about this life. Anyway,
all commentators are kleptomaniacs.
Anyway, I feel like Simple's waiting for his. He has a ban under one organizer, which happened to hold majors every now and then. So I think he's waiting for that ban to expire, so he can be truly considered by other teams. And you know, we saw like pictures from his stream where he was talking to I think AZ, and AZ was asking him, "Are you joining Na'Vi or something?" You never know with Simple if that's just a troll or not. I don't know why he's even showing his entire desktop on a stream to begin with, but regardless, I don't think that'd be a good move for Na'Vi because I mean, if he's gonna make like Zeus is the man who rages on Na'Vi at the moment, right? Like if you're gonna get Simple on the team, whether he's replacing Zeus or someone else, like I don't know how that works.
It's gonna be like a volcanic eruption every time you play.
Yeah.
But that's the thing with Simple, isn't it? Because last point, so we can get back on track. But the thing with Simple that's funny is that everyone wants to try him out on his team because he's godlike at the game, but you don't want him to like stay there for more than a couple of weeks. Probably is how it might feel because he'll probably just mess up the chemistry and so on. But yeah, so since we had a look at the previous month's ladder, let's see how things are doing today and get an update. So Twist is really killing it. He's really working for those FPL dollars, and Moddy's up there still as well. So a lot of the usual suspects, to be honest, the list almost looks the same. I guess the only different names we're really seeing is maybe Sipe and Rain, but the rest of these names I think were on the previous list for last month.
They may have well been done.
Well then, so let's see how things are progressing. It's going to be interesting to see which players we're going to be getting in the pugs that we joined today. But talking of players, one that's not on that list here today is also a very important player. A guy that's, I wouldn't say necessarily you could call him like a pillar of the community, but he's a very strong community presence. Cadian. And we're actually going to do a bit of a feature on Cadian. We grabbed him for an interview as well. But firstly, just tell me what your thoughts are of this individual, because there's a lot to say about Cadian.
I always like him. Always like having him in our shows. He's a great player to have on the desk because he gives good insight and he's a lot more vocal than other people are. He is an AWPer, currently playing for SK where Freeze is doing the main AWPing. So he's a bit, I'd say, maybe out of his comfort zone in terms of what he would like to be doing. But he's a young kid and he's always putting in work, very active in the community. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Kapadia.
Yeah, and as you can see in this clip as well, he's donned the AWP, and that's where he tends to thrive, and that's where he likes to play. But of course, as James mentioned, playing with SK and Freeze being the main AWPer has sort of pushed him into roles which potentially will see him not picking up the AWP nearly as much and demanding more of a rifle and fragging sort of roles for him. So it's been a bit of a learning process for him to get back into the kind of shape and the kind of into the fit that SK demands. So it's definitely quite a difficult thing, I guess, for him to do. But I think also it's something that he wants to be able to add to his skill sets. And if you're playing with people that you enjoy playing with, then it's ultimately going to be worth it. So yeah, I mean, Kapadia, we did get some words from him as well, so we can hear from the horse's mouth.
I think it's very hard to give this kind of award to a specific person. I believe that every player who's been in my journey throughout different teams has made me the player I am today, whether they have been annoying to me, helping me, or teaching me. That's all something which has been giving me the extra 5% to develop myself, because every point of view that is being explored while being in a team is something that will make you think about the situation and make you develop your own mindset, and that will in the end make you a better player, I believe. So I don't think that you specifically can put this on one guy. I think Glaive might have had an impact together with KGB, who are two guys I've had both longer and short stays with. Especially I feel like KGB was really good because he was so straightforward when I had the pleasure of playing a event or two with him. He's not really hiding his intentions in anything, he's just putting it straight out there, and that's been helping me quite a lot to just be direct. It's definitely hard to say because a lot of things can affect you while being at a tournament or playing. I don't really see nerves or things like that as a problem because I know what I'm capable of and I believe in myself when going into matches. I think one of the most annoying things can be teammates actually being annoying. If they're saying like stupid things, or if they're not prepared, not in the right mental state, that can make me really annoying if we're losing stupid rounds because of them not being focused. People from the outside can affect me as well, obviously. Girls, friends, whatever. But as soon as you get into the zone of playing and want to perform your best and you win the rounds, you make your plays, you forget about everything from the outside and you just focus on doing the best for your team. I obviously strive to reach the top and to become one of the very best players in the game. I strive to be one of those who is participating in every major and not only every second. I strive to be a guy who can really perform well and show off some sexy Counter-Strike. And as most of you know, I'm a very ambitious player, so I strive to play in a team where the environment is really good and where I enjoy playing with all of my friends. Well, I mean, I already played with God Hunton, so I don't think I'm gonna go for him. I think it would actually be really interesting for a guy like me to try and be under the leadership of a guy like Aeth, who was a long-time pro in 1.6 and seen as one of the best strategic players there. I think I could learn a lot from a guy like him. I don't know if it's ever gonna happen, possibly not, since he hasn't even showed any kind of interest for CSGO, sadly. I definitely think that I excel the most by playing the AWP role, which I also prefer to play for the majority of the time in FPL. I just feel by far the most confident with this weapon, and I know that I can always take down my opponent. Though it has to be said that I really made a comeback with the rifles. I didn't entirely struggle, but I didn't play as good as I did in the past after transmitting to play the rifle role in SK. So at least I made a comeback with the rifle, and I feel very confident with both weapons at the moment. So that's definitely a good thing. But in my upcoming teams, I would by far prefer to play the AWP, and also I prefer to be the guy doing the mid-round calling, not the guy calling from the beginning of the rounds. I think it looks very promising, especially taking the past results taken into consideration throughout the last 2 weeks. We have taken down teams such as Hellraisers, NIP, fnatic, Penta, Mousesports, 16-0, never forget. I hope you're watching, Chris, or Nico. So I mean, there's definitely a big potential, but the question is if we're going to be able to live up to it and if we can keep developing ourselves as a team. And I think with the recent 5 that we have been playing with, that we can go kind of far, and we're aiming for at least the top 14 in the world. So let's go, SK!
All right, so yeah, a lot of cool things from Kapadia there. Kapadia is a great guy because if you ask him a question, he's very thoughtful and in his delivery, which is one of the reasons why he's so good on desk. So I really enjoyed that interview. Anything that it kind of stood out for you?
No, just again, he's he's good with words. Let's put it that way. Which not every player is on the desk necessarily, but he's definitely one of the people who should be on desks more often than not, I would say.
Yeah, very analytically minded. That's why I'm wondering, like, what his career is going to look like, because he's a very young guy. That's the really shocking thing as well, is how young he is. And if you look at his ability to do analysis, it's actually quite unusual that a player is able to do that at of young of an age as Kapadia has been doing it. So I've always found that very interesting, because I'm sure his career is going to be one that's going to have a lot more ups than we're seeing right now, and I'm sure a lot more downs, as that's how it goes in professional gaming. But I'm just curious to see how. I'm really curious. Anyway, we need to find our FPL matches, James. Who do we have playing on the platform? Okay, so our timing is pretty amazing as usual.
They just finished the match basically, so we're going to wait for a new one to start, and then we shall connect to it. So in the meantime, you'll have to shoot the ship. Isn't that how it goes?
Shoot the
ship, like a pirate ship.
I think people say you shoot the breeze as well.
Shoot the breeze.
Yeah.
There's that's
a non-explicit way.
There's a lot of sayings actually that come from
chinwag. Have a chinwag.
No, from sailors.
Oh, okay.
But shoot the ship obviously is not the correct term. So.
Or is it because sailors have a lot of time on their hands?
I don't know. I was looking up. Someone said by and large. The phrase by and large apparently comes from sailors. But I didn't have time or bother to look up the full history of it. But it's one of many things that come from sailor talk. There.
I guess there would be a lot of stuff because they are on boats for prolonged periods of time where they're probably not doing much at certain points. There's probably stretches. And there must be like big stretches where you can't really do much. You're not going to get any signal out there on your phone, so no internet.
Well,
so you
in these times, I don't think they had mobile phones to begin with.
I don't know. I can't really picture a universe without just constantly being connected to the internet. I should try that sometime. Have like a retreat away.
I think you definitely should.
Where I'm just not connected to anything. Why me? Why me in particular?
Because you're always on the phone, having the phone's always bleeping for one reason or another. So I think it's good definitely to disconnect a little bit. It's possible to do that in London. Just turn the phone off, put it on silent, leave it at home. Go to a park maybe, perhaps. Countryside of France is always good. Yeah. Go and visit a place where you make honey, or I don't know.
A vineyard.
Everything. You must have balance in life then. You must have the yin and the yang, the Torval and Dean, etc.
Okay.
Yes.
So have you done this?
Yeah, I go to, because my family live in rural France. They live in the kind of place where if you want a chicken from the butcher, you have to call a day in advance, and then they kill a chicken for you, and then you go and get the chicken. So it's always nice to go to such a place.
Killed or pre-killed?
What do you mean pre-killed? What is
like
pre-killed?
Do you go there, arrive, and then they kill it, or is it already?
No. They kill it, so the dead chicken is ready for you when you arrive. Upon your arrival, the chicken is already dead.
So you haven't killed a chicken or anything?
I have not killed a chicken, no.
Do you want to?
Do I want to kill a chicken? I'm not afraid to see where food comes from, if that's your question. I'm not the kind of person who just wants to see like plastic wrapped chicken slices on a shelf. So maybe in the future I will.
Interesting. Well. We have a match on our hands, so let's just check and see who's playing. And okay, Senor Vac we know is Flusher.
Twist is Twist.
Yeah, we know most of these players.
Palf is Palf, Dan.
Yep. Mystic is Mystic.
Robin is Robin.
Robin is Robin.
Kyrie is Kyrie. And Simple is in fact Simple.
Hashtag genius.
He's gone from God to genius.
It's hilarious because I know that he's just trying to like troll people. He must just be trying to like bait reactions out. Because it started ever since that tweet at MBK, was it, or something like that? What was that original?
I think he had hashtag CS God and then I think someone made a comment on it, and I think he just went nuts.
Oh yeah, I think it was MVK. I'm so sure that it was MVK, and that's where it all started, James. That's where the story of drama between those two players, and just Simple and the entire Counter-Strike community began.
Simple versus the internet.
He tends to be polarizing, I suppose, in some ways. But that's the beauty of it. You can play the game. People are going to watch. And, okay. So Stavros is... Oh, I guess that kind of makes sense because he's Leonardo da Vinci. So that is Stavros.
I respect that.
That is pretty good.
You know, I'm waiting for... I was looking at, like... I like to have a degree of coordination with my skins, right? So I have an Orc hot rod, I have a silenced M4 hot rod, and I have the Howl M4A4, right? So they're all basically red skins, right? I've got the MP9 hot rod as well, and I have a red Doppler bayonet, which I recently bought for too much money, and a Crimson Web Carambit, right? So just all red stuff. The only thing I'm missing is a red pistol. I'm hoping they do like a hot rod. P2000 because I have the USP Orion, which I like, but I just want all red everything then, so I can just go on like Kanye West or something. Glock Candy Apple, yeah, but that's a T skin. I'm talking about CT weapons here, Mr. Producer Reese. So yeah, I'm missing a red pistol. There is one with like the bullet flying on the side of it or something, but it's not really a red pistol. It has bits of red, but it's not good enough. I need it to complete the look down.
Simple's the kind of guy, by the way, that I expect like that just wrecks all pickup games because that's just kind of how he plays regular clan games.
Yeah.
Just more or less kind of by himself in that sense. Obviously not in the strictest sense do I mean that, but most of the time his style is oriented by being such a solo player in a sense, which is why it's really quite ironic that, for example, we had this situation where Simple left Hellraisers and he was like, well, I can't play on Hellraisers because Oskar is too much of a selfish player. It's just like, okay, mate. That's brilliant. Good job there. So, good old Cobblestone. We're seeing a lot of Cobblestone, actually. Why is that?
In parts?
Yeah.
Actually, I have no idea why, but it's interesting. Like the people I play with, I think generally speaking, people who play pugs are quite lazy. I don't mean pros. I mean people like you and I or whoever, right? But not us, obviously. But I mean the people like my friends who I play pugs with. They're quite lazy. Like on Mirage, the only smokes they know are how to smoke CT and jungle on A, and that's it. So their entire strat on the T side will be like, oh, Mirage smokes, but most of these people haven't learned anything for the new maps like Overpass or Cobblestone. They won't know a single smoke really.
Yeah.
Which makes them not want to. They hate playing the maps, or they try to avoid playing the maps. I think Overpass is one I play the least actually, because they haven't tried to study the map whatsoever, so they haven't learned anything about it. But actually today after the show I'm going to. I'm also guilty of that. I don't avoid playing the maps. I have to play them. You know, I have a general idea of how they should be played, but I need to learn all the relevant grenades. So I'm going to be doing that on Overpass this afternoon, which has nothing to do with Cobblestone, Dan. Which was your question?
Yeah, Simple is just buying Deagle armor every round, which is nice. He's got no kill checks. should we go and watch Simple get his first kill? We should do your best David Attenborough impression.
And Simple is going around the smoke. In near the underparts, he sees a chicken which seems to have difficulty walking forward. Looking for the frag, and he will be taken down by a vicious assault to the head from Mystic.
It's possible. It's possible. I appreciate that. But he still didn't make a kill. So David Attenborough's magic did not work out particularly well. Anyways, still waiting to see what becomes of all these Norwegians. We got so many Norwegians hanging about on the FPL. We should get Vendetta in again and quiz him about all the Norwegians. See who the next upcomers are. He called JChem being an absolute ridiculous monster.
Ooh, when that nade hits you in the chest. It's never good. Senor Vac has left the building. Twist only good for 1 frag. And Simple, he's become the MVP, man. Trying to get his bomb plants, but he was too late. He's still 0-0-4. We'll see if he'll make it to 007. Give him a James Bond award at LAN.
Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to see if Simple can kill anyone. I'm sure he must be able to at some point. It is Simple.
If he can what? Sorry?
Actually make
Get
a
a
frag,
frag.
yeah. Where is he? He's going alone. Let's follow Simple again. Let's follow Simple. I don't care that there's only one CT there. He's going to have the best 1v1 against Flusher of his life.
I've never looked at this
that
door.
bin. That bin is fantastic.
Look at this bin. This bin is
gorgeous.
amazing.
See, his team is dying. This is Simple's big moment. All of his team is dying without him. He's got the bomb though, James. He's got the bomb. He's going for it now. He's like, yes, I've sent out my decoys, and now I will go and plant the bomb.
Do you know what I hate on the eco? So when someone says, all right, I'll take the bomb to A, you all rush B, or vice versa. Unless, because that doesn't really make any sense, unless the people you're playing against are completely stupid, right? Either all the numbers who rush will die, and there won't be a rotation, because they won't have killed enough people, or they will have killed enough people, and then the bomb site would be open for a plant. So either way, it doesn't make sense to send an entire team there, because either they completely fail and there's no rotation, or they succeed and you have an opportunity to plant the bomb. Because if you drag the rotation towards that site and you plant the bomb on the other site, then it's going to be hard to win the round regardless. Yeah. These things make me angry, Dan.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
I regularly call the people I play with idiots.
Oh, Simple did get a kill. I didn't see that.
Yeah, he did. He got traded with AKs.
Oh yeah, but I like the fact that round completely failed. let's see.
You're enjoying this failure.
Let's see. Yeah,
where one fails, another succeeds. Dan.
Well, Simple has an AK again. Let's see if he can do it for the team. Come on.
Where's his knife gone? He's always doing these dodgy giveaways on his stream as well, where it's like, is he gonna give the skin away or? I actually was paying attention to his.
Look at these dark thoughts entering his mind right now.
I know. Friendly fire is on, people. I had to play the recoil control map yesterday because I realised that I completely forgot how to do recoil with an AK. And in fact, I had to learn the silence one as well because I noticed I was doing M4A4 recoil on every weapon because I'm really good with that one. But it's actually I find it difficult to do the correct recoil on different guns. I need to just practice it a lot more.
I think you can get away with. I think the thing is because you can get away without knowing it perfectly with a lot of the weapons. Unlike 1.6, so I remember 1.6, especially because you can wallbang like literally everything. You're actually going to be full auto, or like all 30 bullets with a rifle, like a lot that you really need to have perfect recoil control in all situations. Because I remember in 1.6, my recoil control was amazing because I forcibly had to practice it all the time. Whereas in this game, it's like you can kind of get away with the first 10 bullets, just like pull down, and it's like you're not really having to go left or right yet. So
what I'm trying to do at the moment is practice the first 15 bullets because the only time I could ever imagine really. Maybe I've forgotten a specific scenario, but where recoil was the most important for me was when I was playing CT on Nuke, playing Squeaky. If there was a Squeaky rush, then it was good to know full spray. And I did practice it for that purpose, actually, with an M4A4 specifically. And I had that down at the time, but now Nuke has gone out of play for the time being. I haven't practiced so much, but for me, I'm trying to do first 15 bullets of the primary rifles.
I can almost see with the new, if and when Nuke comes back into competitive play, like when they re-release it or something, and is coming along, there's like being like a big ribbon, red ribbon. He gets to snip the ribbon. almost get that kind of image going. But yeah, it's a fun one, a recoil control, because you can do a lot with if your recoil control is very good. I mean, just look at a player like Get Right, for example. Like he historically is somebody that always has had incredibly good recoil control and like finds perfect spots to use it. Does give you a lot more confidence, I think, as well. Because if stuff goes badly, you're not letting go of fire. So
yeah, absolutely. You need to know where you're at. That's the main thing I enjoy with the M4A4 over the silence one. Is just spamming, like on cash, for example. Spamming away. especially if you're in a mid area, just spam all day. What I really want to do actually is learn the angles in cache. When you push the other side of mid as the CTs to spam into A main with like an AWP or a rifle. Actually, I need to look at how much penetration it will do with like an M4, for example. But that would be super nice.
One thing as well, like the full auto, is that like it's really useful to have a very good familiarity with it, because when you're in a situation where you crouch, but you still have like a tiny bit of visibility, and you'll see a lot of the pro players do this sometimes, where you have you're on full auto, so you know when like with the recoil it goes to like the topmost part, like the T, the top of the T basically. It's like going flat left and right. You can pull the mouse down even though you're basically shooting into a wall. And only your head is like a pixel of your head is showing. You can kind of like get loads of bullets that are flying out heads level. It's that's pretty cool to like get that down, and that can work pretty well. So long range as well. Sometimes if you like get a good feel for it, but it's obviously not so reliable if you aren't godlike at recoil. I see Olafmeister doing that sometimes. Actually, he's pretty darn good at that. But as I think all the pro players are, as it would be expected. So. It's kind of funny actually when you say that, like talk about recoil and like pulling down. Obviously I play with invert, but I still think of it as pulling down because my brain like there's like some process between when it gets like my hands, like my brain just converts that into pushing up basically, which is so weird because I can't think of that. To me, thinking about that I'm pushing up doesn't make any sense because I'm pulling down. It's so weird. It's super weird.
I have a question for you, right? Because I use a lot of Macs. And by default, if you scroll down on the mouse wheel, it scrolls up a page. So I always invert it because I'm used to, you know, like.
Oh really?
Yeah, I invert it because I'm used to.
You're
like,
weird.
Well, look, if you look at you know when you first started having mouse wheels on Windows machines, then it was always you bring the wheel down and it scrolls down. So yeah, I always find it hard to control like pilot games with a joystick or something because the controls are upside down for me. So maybe you'd be good at pilot games then.
Well, that was one of the reasons why I started using invert, because I was playing a lot of not like it was more like arcadey space sims at the time, and also I think I played on my brother's computer a lot, and because he played a lot of those, he was using that, and I just got used to it. Initially, I didn't want to use it, but just couldn't be bothered changing the setting in the options all the time. Just ended up sticking with it. And it turned out as well that a lot of the pro level Quake players who had godlike aim also used invert mouse. So yeah, and I mean it does make sense from some perspectives as well. Like I mean the thing is that it's whatever you're comfortable with. It doesn't really matter. But everyone likes to argue about it, but it doesn't really matter if it makes sense or if it doesn't. But yeah. So actually, how many kills does Simple have now? Because I felt like we were talking a bit. Oh my God, Jay.
He's 1 for 10 then. I wonder when we're going to get a 007. Maybe we should like give a troll award to the first person who gets a 007 on a FPL stream. Like, have you ever seen a gun? It's not a real gun, but like a gun where somebody's like shot a bullet into the barrel of another gun or something. So it's like exploded. You know what I mean?
In
like
real life?
If we, well, no, not in real life, because I doubt that's ever happened. But I mean, I'm sure there's like a picture or something like of a fantasy gun where that's happened. But we should like make a trophy out of that.
Oh,
post it to
I
someone.
think I know. You mean like with the barrel kind of?
Yeah, exactly.
Split,
Yeah.
like okay, kind of like cartoon style.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that in cartoons. A lot of cartoons.
Exactly. Yeah.
They like to do that in cartoons.
Flush is he's been putting in work with the CZ recently, actually.
He's really
like
good.
He's a lot of situations where he's got like 2 to 3 kills with a CZ, which is pretty crazy.
He was one of the players that stuck with it the most after it got nerfed, and like I feel like I think we talked about this a little bit last time. I feel like the CZ is really underrated. Obviously, the thing is that the 5.7 is really good, and so is the Tech 9. So you know, when are you going to get the CZ over those? Because I've been using it as well. But if you have it really sick aim and good situational understanding, it can be amazing for like one-on-ones. It can really guarantee, especially on certain maps where you have good cover, where you can just pop out. And if you've got good aim, you're probably going to dink them. And depending on the ranges, it's quite accurate to mid ranges for tapping and stuff. if you have really good aim, it's very rewarding. But it's a very high, I guess it's the highest skill ceiling pistol probably, I would say.
I've started using it again on the CT side actually. I was using it a lot before, but it's situational for me. But I feel like sometimes I need to force myself to use something and then see how it goes. So I'm doing that on the CT side at the moment. I have the Emeralds CZ, which I called the Riddler Dan.
Nice.
Which is very smart. Do you know why, Dan? Not just because the Riddler from Batman, but because I'm riddling people with bullets as well.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Good job.
Yes. I'm a beast when it comes to naming weapons.
Yeah, you've named everything, I think. You've got
Almost
good names on everything.
Almost everything. I was going to... The only thing I haven't named at the moment is my UMP Riots. Just going to name DevGru because they feature in Metal Gear Solid, and I love my Metal Gear Solid references. Although DevGru is actually a real US organization, also known as SEAL Team 6. So I don't think I want to actually make a reference to a real American organization. So maybe I'll name it something else.
Okay, simple again. 1 versus 4. He's got the AWP and the bomb. Oh yeah. He's dead.
And he's dead, Dan.
He's having a pretty hard time.
He appears to be absolutely dead.
He seems very despondent.
Simple as a CZ now. He's gone for the armor CZ buy. I can't think of a time where I've seen him use a CZ.
The thing is, it does make a lot of sense over the Tech 9 in situations where like because the Tech 9 is kind of you want to run and gun with it, but the CZ actually you can accurately, reliably kill people with it at range. But the Tech 9 is not really that reliable, but it's really good to like throw suppressing fire down as you move into certain areas. But it's not like if you're a high skill player with like really sick aim, you should probably use it that rewards that sick aim, I'd say. I mean, and what do you think, James? The Tech 9 is pretty good, but it's weirdly unreliable. So
I like the Tech 9. If you can have a little bit of patience, there's a lot of situations where you can just stand still and tap someone who's having difficulty with their spray or run out of bullets or I don't know what, out of position. So I would have trouble picking the CZ over the Tech 9 on the T side, but the CT side definitely. Well, I mean, I used to. I think they changed the moving accuracy a bit at some point with the CZ, if I'm not mistaken. Because before, I could just run and gun with it easily, but now I think I need to pay a bit more attention to it.
Oh yeah, the running gun days of the CZ were brutal when it was much stronger as well. But yeah, got a bunch of deeks this time for Team Curry. They're not having a good time. It's kind of funny though, like, if you don't have much coordination, or if you got... Simple doesn't seem to be doing much actually right now in this pug. But yeah, it can be pretty weird, this map, in pugs. Like, because what you expect in normal clan matches is that like the CT side really struggles, but that of course assumes coordination from the Ts on these pushes. Yeah, Cobblestone's an interesting map. I should do some videos on some pro matches of this map, because it's not that complex the strategies, I would say. Ooh, I thought that connected them because the X-ray got turned off, but no.
He doubled his kills.
Oh, nice.
Ben. He doubled his kills.
He clutched. He clutched at the end.
He had 100% increase in kills in that round.
He clutched.
100% increase. That's huge.
It's a big percentage.
It is.
It's the biggest percentage.
It's big.
Well, I guess it's not the biggest percentage.
Well,
like, I guess it technically is.
Well, technically it is.
I guess it depends on what we're
Technically
talking
it is.
about. Because yeah,
I don't even know.
It depends how you want to use it.
I don't even know.
Because you can use it as a... Anyway, let's move away from this. Classes should not do mathematics on it. Not good. Anyway. So, is there any hope for these no, that just looked just horrendous. Doesn't look like there is any hope unless these two guys come through the clutch.
I don't think that, Dan.
It's interesting though, because Robin is really, really high on the, like, consistently high on the ladders for the FPL.
But that could mean he plays just more than anybody else.
Yeah, but
So
that's what I was wondering. Like, I don't really know much about Robin.
He never tells the whole story.
It's cool seeing Kyrie play a lot, but it just makes you wonder, where the hell is Musambani? General Musambani. I think that was the name Anders came up with, the nickname. General Musambani. We need to do more nicknames actually for players, I think. Because I really like the Cerebral Assassin for Happy because it makes a lot of sense because he's obviously incredibly smart as a player and he's just kills everyone.
Yeah.
So
I feel bad using it though because it's like it's a nickname from pro wrestling, which I think is apt, but I feel slightly fraudulent using it.
oh, I don't because I don't follow.
Yeah, it's fine for you.
I had no idea until
You
that
go ahead.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I'll continue to use it.
I'm all about the wrestling references.
Yeah. Well, you name guns right. We should start naming some players, get some good references in there, because there's got to be some really good ones. Like we had the French Rambo for Smiths that you came up with, for example.
Yeah.
That was a good one. I'm not sure if it caught. I think it must have caught on.
Well, I did at the time, you know, with the
bandana.
If you remember what we used to do, but I mean, I haven't seen Smiths for ages.
That's the thing, isn't
Deadnut,
it? Yeah. He's just been a bit flat. Smith has not really been on point since a long time.
Kenyes is the most wanted man in France.
Yep. We had a video with that as well.
Yeah, that was really good actually. Let's see. I think get right. We call Kaiser Sose, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, the biggest nickname crew is Cloud9.
Yeah. You got all them.
Who all have nicknames.
But do you have one for nothing?
White Kimbo Slice.
Oh right, yeah.
I love those guys.
There you got Tyrone, you got Skadongles, you got Sean Grills. Who am I missing?
Freakazoid.
Freakazoid, yeah.
I've got his one,
Oh,
but I can't say it
yeah.
on stream. You know what his one is.
Yeah.
And he's actually he's got a very nice girlfriend, so it's not appropriate to say at all.
It's
but
no.
But it's yeah, we know what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to find him a Peggy 13.
Yeah.
Peggy 13 nickname.
That needs to happen. That's gonna take some brainstorming.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Just requires a bit of inspiration.
But we should have a sit down one day, get good old names done. Although I guess it's inspiration based, so can't force.
Yeah, it just happens when it happens.
Yeah. Simple genius.
We need to call someone John Travolta.
Really?
Yeah.
Who on earth would you call John Travolta?
I have no idea.
And on what basis?
I have no idea. But it needs to happen. It needs to happen.
Oh, that's such a why John Travolta?
You know, John Travolta has a runway in front of his house.
He's a runway.
Yeah,
Is
and
he a private jet?
he has a massive Qantas, I think a 737 plane. Basically, he's a pilot for Qantas, essentially.
Oh, really? You
Yeah.
can legitimately fly
He's like
planes
a
for them.
full-on pilot. Yeah, like he's flown.
But isn't Qantas a Australian airline?
Yeah, but like he's flown their planes to Australia.
Really?
Yeah, he's like a
What,
massive.
commercial flights?
He's like a massive plane nut. He's a massive plane nut. I found out recently. It's actually amazing. If you look at his house is basically an airport, like a private airport.
That is really interesting.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Oh my god, I'm having a mental block now on the guy who played Han Solo in Indiana Jones. What? How can I have a mental block on his
Han
name?
Solo. Oh.
Harrison Ford,
Yes.
yeah. So Harrison Ford, he keeps having plane crashes, doesn't he? Like, even though he's very old, he's flying his plane around.
I just
and
saw he had a plane crash
crashing it
recently.
and then it's walking away. It's just like multiple times. So yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
I can't believe I crashed my plane again. When I was in the mountains of France, actually, there was a glider above my head. I thought it was a toy plane. I thought it was like a remote control plane. It was crazy. What an amazing way to look around the mountains, though.
Yeah.
I think I'd be too scared to do something like that. I'd probably kill myself, so best avoid it. I'll just stay on the ground.
Yeah, I think I would love to do that kind of stuff, but that's a lot of. That's gonna take a long time, isn't it? To learn all that kind of stuff, and then slowly work your way up to legitimate aircrafts.
I want to do skydiving, but I'm too heavy. I was gonna do the
Too heavy.
At the moment, I am. Yeah, I need to get on that treadmill, baby.
Does your weight really have a big? I mean, you're not like obese or something.
No, but you know, there's a few stones. I think you have to be 14 stone or less.
Oh really?
Yeah, to do skydiving. So I think I'm
I guess it makes sense.
just over 15, or between 15 and 16 at the moment.
You're a tall dude. You're a massive dude. Like the pictures with you standing Mr. Natu on the major desk are just amazing. Like it looks out of scale. Like everybody else is out of scale, or you're out of scale. But in reality, you're just huge. You're just a massive dude. It's funny because obviously we put the chairs so that we're level, more or less.
Yeah.
But that's not the reality. It's the magic of TV and adjustable chairs.
Yeah. Adjustable stools. I do like these stools actually.
Yeah, they're pretty. They have. We've been sitting on them for a very long time.
Yeah.
And during all kinds of situations.
I'm always scared you're gonna break yours because you keep leaning on it, and I'm like, that's one day that's gonna snap.
We got 2 more. It's fine. All right. Well, it looks like Team Curry is actually coming a bit back into this one. Oh, look, he's named his gun Carl Wilhelm.
There's a song by I think James Blunt called "The Wilhelm Scream," and there's a cover of it by who is it by? I want to say I've got it on my phone actually. I'll have a look. I want to say Cinematic Orchestra, but I don't think that's correct.
This is
but
really
I love the cover.
Weirdly situation.
I don't know what the Wilhelm Scream is, or who Carl Wilhelm is. It's the Bamboos. The Wilhelm Scream featuring Megan Washington. I highly recommend you listen to that. It's cute, it's gorgeous.
The only Wilhelms I know of were the Kaiser Wilhelms. That's the only ones that I'm aware of.
I don't know anything about any Wilhelms anywhere.
Anyway, well, let's get you some history books. I also need some history books.
I need to get through the books I've got. I've got too many books. Once you know Waterstones, right? They release these like regular catalogs. So we have these books, blah 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 blah. But they have there's like a book awards thing, and the books that win awards, they have like a little booklet to show this one this one that. So generally, I would just buy like 3 or 4 of those books ignorantly, and then not read them. Just put them in a corner somewhere to collect dust. I think the last one I bought was called 1,000 Splendid Suns, but I haven't read it yet. But if you've read it, let me know.
I'm doing the Gulag Archipelago, which is by Alexander Solzhenitsyn, something like that. Russian name. It's a really famous book about gulags. It's pretty depressing, James. To be honest,
doesn't sound like a Christmas story, Dan.
It's pretty depressing, but there's a lot of ignorance I have towards Russia and just Eastern Europe in general. So
one of the books I'm reading at the moment is called "On the History of Military Incompetence." I've been reading it for like over a year.
Oh yeah, you've made reference to that.
Yeah,
over the year,
or maybe even 2 years. I need to actually finish reading it. But with all this CS:GO to play, Dan, not many times to read a book.
It's actually pretty good how it can help you like normalize your sleep a little bit because screens are what really destroy you. The blue light is what really gets you as far as like messing up your sleep, I think. And books is obviously there's no light from books unless I guess you got like a Kindle thing. But those they probably have like I actually don't have one. But I imagine the lighting is super kind of red and
inoffensive.
Brown. Yeah, like it probably doesn't mess with your body's physiology at all.
I'm not a fan of those e-book things, right? I bought a book to read. I used to read Wired magazine on my iPad, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. Even though it had interactive things and whatever, I much prefer the print. Much.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. It's a weird one because I really can see how incredibly advantageous it is from a space consideration, and like that seems awesome. But yeah, I'm not there. Yeah, maybe one day I'll be jumping on the train of.
I never will.
Kindle users or something.
Because I have a lot of photography books as well, which you can't really replicate the power of those with something like a Kindle. Some of those are like the size of a 24-inch monitor, for example. So
yeah,
not gonna work.
Okay, well here is the classic split into B in a pug. Not bad, but looks like Flusher's dead. I guess this is an interesting dynamic, like getting really good at these aim duels is very important. I think it's probably one of the biggest values you can get out of playing with pugs. It's like the aim battles on B are like so pivotal, and you can often see rounds just fall apart in just like a couple of seconds on this map because of players, like how well they take these duels and And for the CTs as well, there's always like a certain amount of priority in just staying alive, because the longer you delay the Ts, the worse it usually gets for them, because the more time your teammates get to reinforce you. Of course, to a certain point, if you have the members available. But yeah, and that's the thing. Like, the Ts want to get the kills quickly, but that means you got to displace the CTs, so you're kind of playing against that. And this is another thing as well. Like, I still feel like a lot of teams don't use nades all too well against the CTs to displace them from like their good positions. Any thoughts on that? Or you just
Yes.
Just sitting there.
I was just
spinning around in the chair.
I was thinking about the drop zone and the use of grenades there, and how the CTs position themselves. Like, there's a pillar in the middle of the drop zone, which is good for the CTs to avoid a lot of grenades. I like to use an auto shotgun actually on the CT side in the drop zone, because I feel like if somebody peeks you and you're playing kind of medium to close distance and you headshot them, you're doing at least 90 damage there. You can play close on the crate, which is on the side of the wall. But the problem is, now that they've adjusted the sounds in the game, every time you jump on that crate, it makes a really audible noise when you land. So there's it's changed the game there in that respect. And obviously, if you're continuously jumping, you can very easily be naded off the wall without enough time to get away from it. So you're going to lose 50 health when that happens. So it actually makes that even more difficult for the CTs. Yeah, and I throw a similar smoke, but I stand underneath the drop and then throw it off the wooden panel opposite. But you have to throw it a bit to the left because it's slanted for it to land correctly.
Indeed, it's a tricky one, and I still think like I hope we'll reach a day at some point where like the force buys are just like really optimal, because this is the thing, like once not sorry the force buys, but the anti-force buys, because one of the things is that the way the meta will actually shift is that if teams actually abuse all the things that are really possible, let's say on the T side for anti-force buys against the CTs, then I feel like the CT force buy success rate should drop massively. And if that happens, if it drops enough, then teams will be forced to stop doing them as much, and will be forced to consider new strategies, more economic ones perhaps, or different kinds of buys. It's going to be interesting to see how that actually develops, because there is a lot to be done at the moment. But I think the thing that really set this back, because it was actually starting to happen, was the Deagle. Because the Deagle is so much better in the mids and long ranges. It's like much more dynamic than the other pistols, in that it's more reliably going to be able to deal damage from all the ranges and positions. That actually helps massively against the kind of the anti-force buy plays, generally speaking. So it's quite interesting. It's good though, because I missed, as a Counter-Strike fan, I missed the Deagle, and now it's back.
I like this push from Flusher with the smoke and the nades. It's a nice little solo push. It's a very open flash, that last one he threw as well, jumping in with the P90. Generally, I end up playing drop zone alone on this map, and I like to play harassment on drop as well. Although I also like to go down to mid to the underpass. There's very nice timing you can do with HE grenades if your opponent lacks a peek the underpass, which just absolutely wrecks them on this map. But yeah, I spend most of my time in the drop zone, so I don't get many kills because it's hard. Most of the time it's hard for people to push, but some people are good and will just get the numbers in there, and then you get wrecked, and then your team's in trouble. Actually, one thing people in pugs I think need to think about is not just how you play drop, but how you react once drop has been lost, what you do as a team, because often people don't have an answer to that, and then when they lose drop, they just get absolutely crushed because they had no general idea of what to do at all.
Yeah, losing drop is really scary. Oh, nice. There's some good recoil control over there from Flusher. Good cognizance of where his recoil's at. Yeah, this looks pretty bad here for Team Curry. I think it's simple in that last round. Bought an M4 with no Kevlar, which is nice. But yeah, Team Twist seem to be on the verge, on the brink of winning this one. But let's see if the Deagles can come into play. Yeah, definitely a big fan of the CZ these days. We actually saw it put to good use there in some of these positions. you can more or less get guaranteed kills in certain situations, especially when players are coming out of smoke, as we saw in that last round. But there's also this where the team with AKs they just wait for the pre-nades to go away, and then you have none left. And that's pretty GG. I can't remember which team it was that I saw recently playing. Was it Na'Vi? I'm not sure. Either way, there was there are certain strategies that you should apply in certain rounds. Like for example, another thing that we don't see enough is teams that apply the strategy to have like delays and pokes when a CT side has a low buy. You know that situation where the CT has to like it's their first buy after losing the pistol, and they force port, so they don't have many nades. T teams should often always just get rid of their nades first and then do an execute. That's like such a good play, but we don't see it enough. Anyway, 16-12, Team Twist, King Twist with Senor Vac there to bolster the ranks. So yeah, it's quite cool to see. I mean, Flush is playing loads.
Yeah,
playing loads.
He is always in there.
It's nice to see. I like how Flusher plays. He's incredibly good, obviously, and he's.
I think he's a contender for best player in the world at the moment. I think obviously like Thorin, for example, was focusing on device, which means most people will focus on device because they like to follow him. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think that Flusher for a long time though has been playing super good. Although as a team, Fnatic haven't been playing fantastically well recently, which might take the limelight off somewhat. But definitely one to watch, I think, for the top 3, top 5.
Yeah, I think statistically he's always a solid performer. I think statistically, maybe even Crims is the best right now on Fnatic. From what the matches that I've seen, we'd have to like look at the spreadsheets and stuff to see those kind of statistics. But Crims is having a resurgence right now. It's really awesome.
When he goes big, he tends to go huge. For Fnatic, he tends to like get 30 plus bombs.
He always just gets 2 or 3 kills. It's unreal, and his kill death ratio is always really high because he always finds a way to just die very little. And obviously it depends on the positions he plays and the teams he plays, but he seems very consistent, like eerily consistent in that sense.
I think actually we have a few POVs to pick from the last few match days of the league, so look out for those on the YouTube. Some players to come. We'll have to look at the performances, see who did well, and get those up there. Always good to watch. I try to watch every single one actually because they're very educational. So I'm going to do that for the rest as well.
Well, it's time for us to talk about FACEIT LAN. We've got our topic of the week essentially, and this is going to be interesting because of course we're flying to Jönköping for DreamHack Winter, where the FACEIT finals will be held in less than a week. Yeah, it's less than a week.
What day is it today? Friday.
It's Friday.
Yeah, I suppose it is.
So it's in a few days, which is kind of ridiculous. It's just come out of nowhere. It feels like it's crazy. Of course, we finished all the league matches. We did that quite some time ago, but yeah. So let's talk about first of all, we got the groups. So we got Virtus.pro, Liquid, TSM, and Legacy in Group A. How do you feel about Group A?
Well, obviously everyone will be looking at Liquid and Legacy as the weaker links. Legacy being the Animal Squad, who qualified from Oceania, in a massive surprise, obviously taking it over Immunity and Renegade. So there's a reasonable chance that they're going to get wrecked. We'll have to see. They have been playing in some in the Red Dot tournament qualifiers, I'm told. So you were casting that. I think I was doing something else at the time.
You were doing Star Series, I think.
Possibly.
I think you were doing Na'Vi and Envious or something.
Okay. Yeah. So you're saying they got wrecked by eFrag.
It was Inferno. I mean, they had a better showing against Dead Pixels, but these are not tier 1 teams. These are not BP, Liquid, and TSM.
Yeah. eFrag are always a tricky team to play against, though. They're very, very difficult team to play against. So, there's a fair chance that they should do the worst out of because just lack of experience, for example.
That is actually a point I made when we were playing them. When we were casting the match, I was like, out of all the teams that you could face in maybe the top 12 of the European scene, eFrag is probably actually going to be the worst one because they are the most unorthodox and they are very good individually too. So they might just batter you with their skill in an unorthodox way, which just makes it what do you do? The
good thing is though that Legacy don't have anything to lose. They got nothing to prove and nothing to lose, so they can play their game and they shouldn't feel any pressure. I mean, bear in mind, this is the first time we've had players from New Zealand come and play a big LAN in Europe. So they're going in relatively deep end, majors aside. DreamHack Winter is going to be pretty insane.
Yeah, this is baptism by fire.
Exactly,
to say the least.
Exactly, it's like a flamethrower and you're stuck in the corner just like this, basically. So as long as they're not intimidated by the scale of the event and all the crazy Swedish fans and just the scale of DreamHack in general, presumably having not been there ever before, then I think that they are in with a good chance of playing to the best of their ability. And for now, and who knows where that will be. So VP and TSM, one would look at those two to be. I mean, TSM have won two. They've won every stage of the FACEIT League this year. So I would like to see them get to do well. Actually, I have no favourites, but it would be cool if they won all three stages. That would be cool. That said, again, there's no bias there. Whatever happens, happens. So I'm not hoping that anybody does anything in particular. Liquid, again, they're a team who, for me, there's no best team in America at the moment. Because people are saying like, is Cloud9 the best? Is Liquid the best? I'd say their win-loss ratio versus the top teams in the world is so inconsistent that I don't know if you can pick a best team in America at the moment.
The funny thing that we should mention here is you say TSM won every time. Well, the team that managed to get themselves in the into the finals last time was Cloud9 against TSM, and they beat fnatic to do that in the semis, which is just, I mean, like, coming from that, and then they're not even qualified for this one.
Yeah,
that's insane, isn't it?
But I would say that was a bit of a honeymoon period for Cloud9, because that was a period where no one was really paying attention to them. They're Cloud9, they will wreck them, no problem. And then they finally knuckled down, did their study, came with hard counters for basically every team. So the teams at the time, I'd say, wouldn't have known how to necessarily react. But now they've had time to figure out what Cloud9 are doing and so on. Now Cloud9 are not doing as well as they were doing before. So who knows what they need to do. But yeah, I mean, TSM, they pretty much stomped them in the final last time.
Yeah, it ended up being quite a stomp, especially on the last map. I think it was Mirage. They got really destroyed, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, and the finals before that was NIP. Which is quite funny. And
bearing in mind, like, for stage 3, CLG didn't even qualify for the tournament at all. They didn't even make it into the league. So we have Luminosity, who I'm excited to see. But again, well, we'll go to Group B in a minute. But I mean, those are my thoughts on Group A. Virtus.pro, again, you have to see what Virtus.pro turns up to land.
Yeah, I mean, I would feel like it's quite hard to predict, but you got to give the edge to TSM and Virtus.pro. But the Liquid matchup is still a little bit unknown. Because if it would be very different if it was Cloud9 in the group instead of Liquid, because Cloud9 have a horrendous record against Virtus.pro. There's something about Virtus.pro that means that they are just the kryptonite of Cloud9. Even when Cloud9 were at their best, Virtus.pro were the team that they would lose to and would rob them of chances to go deep in tournaments. But Liquid have actually shown repeatedly very close games with Virtus.pro. So the Liquid Virtus.pro matchup could be essentially the kind of the pivotal game of the group to really decide it, because that's going to be the separating game for sure. Because Legacy is, we can't really consider them too heavily, which is fine, which is totally fine. But yeah, Liquid TSM VP.
If I'm not mistaken, though, the early stages of the tournament do have some best of ones, so I think those are favourable to Liquid, to Legacy.
Oh yeah,
for those kind of upsets that can put them in their first step forward, basically. Could put them in a good situation for when the best of threes come later on. For me, the question is, are Liquid capable of, I suppose, what would be considered an upset? Mainly over TSM, over Virtus.pro, we know what they can be like, so maybe not so much, but there we go. All questions that will be answered in a few days.
And the second group, we've got Envious, Luminosity, fnatic, and NIP, which is an interesting group to say the least. That's certainly the group of death. I don't know. Like you say, Luminosity, they have a legitimate chance with the best of ones to actually upset somebody for sure, because it's Luminosity. And they say that they match up well against fnatic, for example. So it's very likely that they can win a map from fnatic. It just depends on in which circumstances is it in the best of one phase. What map is it going to be?
I think they match up well against NIP as well, which isn't me saying that I think they're a favourite, but I think it will be a good game to watch versus NIP. And I don't think Luminosity get enough respect in North America. Maybe they haven't been there long enough, but I really feel like they don't get enough respect because when they 60-node Renegades recently, people are like, oh, Renegades got 60-node by Luminosity. Like, what does that even mean? What is that? That sounds like insulting to me and quite an idiotic way of thinking about things, as if they're like some kind of subpar team. They're not a subpar team. They will wreck a lot of people. So I think they're definitely flying under the radar despite their performances and near misses at the recent major. So they're I would say they're the team I like to watch the most at the moment that I can think of off the top of my head. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed watching their matches at the major. So I think they're slept on, and they could do some. Well, it's a good platform for them to bring up some upsets, if you will, which will maybe give them the respect that I think they deserve. We will see.
Yeah, there's certainly a hard group. Envious is in there, just of course coming off the major win, and NIP.
NIP instead of G2, you might say.
Who knows what's going to happen with NIP? I mean, completely. I mean, it's a sweet. They're at a home event, so that's always nice for them.
Yeah.
And there's always like ridiculous amounts of NIP fans. Of course, as you would expect, it's Sweden after all. So that's going to be interesting to see how that works out. Fnatic, they're more loved these days, but it's also the Luminosity Fnatic thing is a bit more weird this time because it's a different Fnatic now. It's under Flusher with a new player. So whatever Luminosity felt against like the Pronag style, they're definitely going to run into something different. So it's hard to say. So I mean, I would expect Fnatic and Envious, because I'd be crazy not to think those two teams would top the group. And then it's going to be maybe Envious, depending on who tops Group A. I guess Envious versus TSM or VP. I don't know. I'm seeing a potential Envious TSM final, or maybe Envious Fnatic. It's so hard to say, isn't it?
For me, I think Envy they pretty much have to make it out of the group, and then I think any of the other three can make it out. Because one thing you have to consider, I think, especially for the best of ones on a map like Inferno, is one thing that's been interesting to watch is how Fnatic have been rotating the AWP in some situations and not just having JW on it all the time. And you have to look at, especially on Inferno on the CT side, how often is JW going to get picked early on in the round where he's going for those hyper-aggressive duels, and what impact that has on the rest of the round and how many rounds they lose because of that. And if that's something they're considering with this rotation of the AWPs. I mean, some of it is them playing spawns to have a pick down mid, but then sometimes it's just like Olofmeister is AWPing or someone else is AWPing. So I wonder if that's like a conscious decision relating to that. And I do wonder if someone has a stat on like how the percentage of rounds they lose when JW gets picked, let's say in the first 15 seconds, for example. So I think that kind of thing is one of the most glaring things I've seen that can be an issue for Fnatic. So I'm curious as to what part that will play in these matchups at LAN.
I mean, I think the most likely top two is going to be, or the final will be Envious Fnatic. I think that's most likely to be the final. Again, it depends how. Do we have the double elim playoffs or?
I do not remember the entire format off the top of my head.
Because obviously,
who do you see beating TSM then?
Well, I'm just more confident in Envious's and Fnatic's shape, potential Fnatic shape, because the weird thing is that, of course, it's taking some time to integrate Dennis, and it's taking some time for Flusher to feel comfortable in his role as the in-game leader. He's taken a hit to individual performance, something that Dennis can raise. So I don't see Fnatic's level necessarily being different, just different. Wait, worse. I don't see it being worse. No, I don't. James, I don't even know what I just said, mate.
Just pick one. Worse or different? Or
it's gonna be different to the old Fnatic,
yes,
obviously. But I think the level will be raised individually. They just have to find that. And I think Dennis has been playing amazing in some of the recent matches. It's been really cool watching him play. He's playing very smart as well, which is what I respect the most, is how smart he is under a lot of pressure. That's a very good sign for me. So yeah, I want to see Envious Fnatic. TSM, I don't know where to place TSM right now. I don't know what's.
I think they'll deliver the goods at LAN.
Because let's not forget, at the major, they got given like a gift from God himself, like the easiest path for them possibly to a major finals. That's the only thing that they needed. They could even have maybe even lost the major finals, but still been like, all right, guys, we got to the finals and played a good game. That's fine. But no, they lost. They got wrecked. They got wrecked by NIP, who then got to play Na'Vi, and then obviously Na'Vi got to play in the finals against Envious. So those are all those matchups. TSM should just wipe the floor of those teams.
I think they're gonna bring the noise to LAN. It's FACEIT finals, man. They're the reigning champions 2 times.
True.
They could ace the entire year. They could ace a year. Who can say that they've aced a year, Dan?
Yeah.
You can ace a round, but can you ace a year? TSM are the only team who have an opportunity to do that at the moment.
I
and
guess
I think that's going to be important to them. So I think they're going to bring the noise at LAN. I believe.
Interesting. I've always enjoyed TSM and how they play. Out of all the teams, I like how they look at the game the most. So I hope that they do well, especially as the defending champions. Well, I guess it's time for our AMA, our giveaways. So you guys can start chatting away, and Reese is going to start opening things up so that anyone who takes part in the chat, in saying anything, writing anything, taking part in discussion, you'll be entered into a raffle for our giveaway. What are we giving away, James?
I haven't got anything to give away, actually. Well, actually, I probably do, but I didn't think of it in advance. What we could do, actually, we can give away a StatTrak USPS Orion. That's what we can do. We have 2 of those, so we can give away one of those. They're worth like £60, like $100.
That's nice.
They're quite nice, yeah. I don't know why they don't drop in cases anymore or something like that. But anyway, we have one of those to give away, so
cool.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, so I guess if we don't have any questions, we can just prattle on for a while until there is a question. So ask James something, ask me something, ask an open general question to all at the desk.
All of the desk, all 2 of the desk.
You can feel free. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we should have our caster announcement today.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. It was supposed to be yesterday, actually, but some people were a bit lax on their little graphics. So it's going to be today. It should be today.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so look out for that. It'll be down to DreamHack to release that info at their leisure. So look out for that. It should be good. I think people will be happy with the lineup. Might be a few surprises in there, maybe.
A few surprises. Finally got Mystic Meg in there.
Mystic Meg. What is it with you and Mystic Meg?
I don't know.
Is she still doing that?
I don't know.
I
honestly,
looks the same.
Last time I heard from Mystic Meg, it was like she's doing her TV.
Last time you heard from her, did she write to you?
Yeah. Yeah, I used to write to her when I was a kid.
Really?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I am definitely making it up because you definitely look like you believe that.
I did. I was like, wait. I wouldn't be surprised.
I had to stop that.
I would not be surprised.
I had to nip that one in the bud. But yeah, I don't write to Mystic Meg. But last time I saw her doing anything, I was probably like 8 years old or 7 years old or something.
I know, right? And she always had that same hair, that fake hair.
But she became, she was kind of a joke because, I guess, or became a joke, I suppose.
If you're called Mystic Meg, you're not going to be taken seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's be honest.
There we go. DMX.
She's a horoscope person. She used to give like nonsense horoscopes. You know, today you will find difficulty in the morning, but in the afternoon you will have a good day, or just nonsense like that.
But what about DMX? Didn't any luck on DMX?
DMX has not replied to my email or my tweets. We are running out of time. I would suppose that we have run out of time. Basically, I wanted my master plan was to have DMX open the finals with Zipnix playing X-Gon and give it to her, and Zipnix was up for it as well, right?
But what if TSM didn't make the finals?
I don't care. We'll get Zipnix there anyway.
Just anyway. Okay, nice. That would have actually been awesome.
Yeah, that was the plan, and
juicy.
I mean, as long as it was affordable, I would have done it 100%. But
how much do you think DMX is going to ask? How was his career going?
Well, he just got out of jail, right, for like not paying child things. So I'm sure he needs a bit of cash. I don't know.
Esports supporting the. Okay, we got some questions. Fire them at us, Reese.
What have been your most memorable moments in CS:GO?
Well, I suppose. Well, since you haven't qualified the question further, I would say one of the most memorable moments for me was watching Very Games versus Complexity when Complexity rotated from B to A and won 16-14. I think it was at DreamHack Winter, one of the majors. That was the most exciting thing I had watched to date. I can't think of if I've seen something more crazy, but I was so into that game. That was to then my favorite game. I think G2 Envy might top that as a general best of 3. But also memorable moments for me personally, going from the first major where I was standing behind Thorin and Scoots holding a sign up that said drop on the stream to actually casting the major itself, and now my voice is like permanently in the game, is cool for me because the game means a lot to me, and that was quite nice from a personal point of view, I suppose.
I guess I'll have maybe 2 then. I guess. I suppose One would be when I went to Aspen, the MLG Aspen events, and I was there with Sadikis because we were doing the main commentary. That was like the first event I did like as a main commentator, so that was a really big deal for me from a career perspective. But the games were really good as well. I think I was casting like NIP, LDLC or something, and with Sadikist, and I'm going nuts. And it's like ESPN have like a massive camera crew just like taking doing a live TV thing on us whilst we're casting, like really sick. I remember the round as well. It was like a really sick round where NIP basically pushed Catwalk and Dark and like loads of crazy frags. It's like not a great crazy moment. So that really stuck in my stuck in my memory. But also the G2 match we got to cast at the major was obviously like a really big deal because it's the first major. We had like an amazing match. G2 just doing unbelievable stuff all the time. So I guess I'd choose that one as well if I had to pick 2 moments. I'd have to pick those.
Why do you think there is a correlation between physical fitness and good CSGO players?
I don't think there is a correlation with that, is there?
I don't want to point out particular players, but some of the top players are fat. So I don't think there is. But I think generally I think to a degree, being fitter is better for, people say healthy body, healthy mind, basically. So I think if you're fitter, then the thing is, like, we're not scientists, right? So we're just talking out of our asses, basically saying this. But one would like to think that if you're fitter, you're going to have better reflexes and so on. Like at the moment, I'm really struggling playing CS to the point where I was actually considering maybe playing a different game. I was going to play Batman yesterday, but apparently it's still messed up. Like it's still just a complete mess. So because I said to myself, I'm not going to play it until they fix it. And I was checking, and like now they're saying, if you bought it on Steam, we'll give you a refund no matter how much of the game you've played until the end of the year.
Wow.
So
that's how messed up.
So I'm like, because at the moment, because our sleep schedule is sometimes absolutely bananas. I've been quite fatigued recently, and I just like I'm having to give up AWPing for the time being because I can't react fast enough to AWP people because I'm not awake enough, if that makes any sense. So I'm just trying to concentrate on rifling, but then I actually forgot how to do recoil, as I've mentioned before, on all kinds of stuff. So for me, I think, and like he goes to the gym every day, I go to the gym.
Not every day, but a lot, as much as I can.
More or less every day.
For last week, it's been pretty bad actually. But
anyway, he goes to the gym every day. I go maybe once every 2 months. On average, I think
it's like actually worse than that now.
It could be worse. So fitness-wise, I'm quite unfit at the moment, and I feel like if I was fitter, then I would definitely be playing better Counter-Strike. So I can't say that there's a correlation. I don't think there necessarily is, because some of the best players are not necessarily as fit as some of the other players. But it's definitely better to be fit.
I mean, I think it's there's a lot of, because I think all the like direct physiological gains that you could say, like maybe from an energy perspective or reflex perspective or alertness perspectives, I think that they can be minimal or a bit too minimal to really make a tangible difference. I think most of the time, I think it could be a bit placebo, but I think what the real benefit of health and fitness is that you do feel better as a human being, generally speaking. If you're like, it's just something that will naturally make you feel better. And on top of that, generally speaking, I guess people that are fit, that means that they put routines and habits into place to do that. So they've added that amount of discipline into what they're doing, which actually means that they take probably more time away from the game as well, which actually can benefit some players a lot, not to be playing all the time, but being able to split it up and also doing something that makes you feel good in your body. And that's because a lot of it, I think, is mental. I think a huge amount of all performance is complete, like, it's probably all mental, almost all of it. Like, must be up in the 90% or above.
Yeah, there is a Japanese fighting games player actually who is overweight, and his nickname is the Golden Fatty, and he is one of the best fighting game players out of Japan, which is the strongest region in the world. So I wouldn't say there's necessarily a correlation between fitness and skill. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean it's a lot. It's just so much mental stuff. This is the thing. Like, if you're a person that you think it would make you feel better, or the discipline or the habits that you form by doing it, if that would make you feel better, then it would probably help you perform actually.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's probably as simple as that, generally speaking. Although, that said, it is good to have good practice. Like, for example, it's not good to down loads of high sugar energy drinks when you're at an event, because you are gonna that is gonna have like a very tangible effect on you physiologically. You're gonna have massive sugar crashes, which is gonna screw your alertness. Your focus is gonna go to crap, basically.
At Stage 1 finals, I was actually talking about this with Fiflaron on the desk, and he said that when he was in an NIP, they actually had training on this, and they were told that coffee was better because it was a gradual release and a gradual, like you'd gradually fall back to normal levels as opposed to having a crash and so on.
Yeah. So any more questions?
Do you think Simple will ever find a stable home?
Ever is a very long time. Yes, because it's more likely than not. So, yeah,
He could quit, I guess.
I suppose he could, but then what's he going to do?
But he's too good to quit. He's too good to quit.
I think some of the problems from the conversations I've had with other people are, you know, I think he's basically a lone ranger, not in the game, but like outside of the game. Like I don't know. Well, I don't want to talk about his personal life, and I don't know enough about him to do so. But you know, he's young. He has a lot of attention. That's a bad combination. I think he's just left to his own devices as well, family-wise, which is another bad combination. So he has a lot of things not going his way for him to grow up as a mature person. So in that sense, I think things might be difficult for him to have such like stardom and maybe money, I don't know, at such a young age. But if he can find a way to balance that, because you know, many people, I won't say he's come from hardship because I don't know anything about his life at all, but there are different ways you can come out in that kind of situation, and if he comes out the right way, then hopefully, I expect he will mature over time, and I hope he does. But we have a stable team. I mean, the team's stable. The teams he's been in are stable. The question is his temperament stable? That's, I think, probably what you mean. And I hope he will mellow with age. Like we have a Schnauzer in the family, which is a dog if you don't know what a Schnauzer is. And when I saw it when it was about 1 year old, it was running all over the place, absolutely just bananas crazy. 2 years later, it's just super chilled out, just sitting there, just like whatever. So if the same happens to Simple, then we shall see. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I go, it's a maturity thing. Obviously, he's got the skill to play the game at a very, very high level. But that's one of the beautiful things when it comes to pursuing something like professional esports or professional anything in some senses. But esports is like competitive sports, is like a really good self-development tool, because this is the thing, like even if you're like a really immature, like off the walls crazy kind of person, there is like a level of that which is good. You like will realize that this is actually self-destruct. Like you'll be forced to have the introspection to improve, to get better results, to win what I want to win. And the reason that people often like this is because they're insanely competitive to actually be that good in the first place. Then you'll see that this is a big limitation, this destructive behavior, and you'll have that like introspective moment or that revelation, or maybe a right person will come along. Sometimes that will happen. Like you'll connect with the right person who might not necessarily be a mentor type figure, but he'll help you to accept or understand some of these things, and that will help you get over the hump. Because a lot of people get breakthrough barriers in ultimately what is self-development, whether it's the improvement of your decision making or socializing with a team, or if it's going to be more or less any aspect that makes you a better player, which is many things. I mean, I had a lot of things, like I had to get over the classics, like severe rage issues. Like that was one of the big things that I tackled first of all. But you go through all these kinds of humps, and there's lots of stuff in sports, like sports psychology as a as a field exists because of how much depth there is to stuff like this. So yeah, I'm pretty much, I think that his level of competitiveness with a bit of aging, getting over the puberty kind of stage, I guess, 'cause he's really young, right? He's like, what, 16, 17?
17, 18.
Yeah, so I think in a couple of years, it's very likely that if he still wants to be a world-class player, he's going to realize that you have to be also a world-class team player. And
with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, so
that's what they say in Spider-Man.
Those are my thoughts. But that is the beauty of competitive anything, just the self-development factor. I think that's amazing. You can find so much individual growth that otherwise you wouldn't be able to find. Like he might be able to find peace, because he might be kind of like have a lot of inner turmoil. He might be able to find peace through the game, and that's happened to a lot of people that play sports as well. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing.
Who do you feel is the strongest AWP currently active in CS:GO?
Guardian. Next
It's
question.
got to be Guardian, the strongest author. It just has to be
Literally,
Guardian.
next question.
What do you think is the biggest problem that professional players currently face?
That's an interesting one.
There's a lot of issues, I think, for professional players.
I would say conflicts of interest between team owners and players.
Yeah, I was thinking that one. Because I mean, one big problem for players, which is I guess where this one comes from, is just the fact that you're playing, you're traveling too much. You're going to too many tournaments and participating in too many leagues for it to be good for you, like for your life, I guess, for you to have any kind of life balance, to be actually a happy individual. On top of that, to be able to innovate your play and perform, because a lot of the really top teams who have a lot of pressure to, and well, they don't really have, I guess, a choice if you sign a contract. If the team tells you to go to an event because sponsors want maximum exposure, and that's maybe the numbers that they've sold, the sponsors, the team owners have sold the sponsors. You just got to go to the events. You've got no choice in the matter. So that is definitely very rough. So
one thing I've seen this year, which I found was quite, I don't know if it was just absent-minded or what, was, for example, obviously this year we all knew oversaturation was coming. Everybody wants to get their raw into CSGO and try and get as much out of it as possible. So we've got a bajillion leagues. Like last year was FACEIT League and not much else really that I can think of. Maybe a few things here or there, but we've seen a lot of kind of leagues come up which are similar to ours, like intercontinental leagues and so on, and other things. And one thing I noticed was, first organizations were complaining, or we're playing too many matches or so on. But then like there was one organization, a very big one as well, one of the big ones, who I saw an article on HLTV saying that. Then literally the next day it said, this new league has been announced and it has this team in it, which were just complaining about. And what I found was also interesting was, it's them who are deciding to play in all these leagues, like and these online tournaments and so on. Like if it's too much, then stop agreeing to play in so many, and then maybe you'll be playing in less. But then obviously there's a lot of pressure from sponsors. But I think you need to have some balance in there, as Dan just said.
That's the thing. That's like why the player union idea is something that resonates. Is because a lot of players don't understand contracts, for example, or obligations, or what is how to negotiate these obligations, because there are definitely positions that they would have that they could definitely negotiate and argue and have things be more favorable for them. But at the end of the day, they likely don't necessarily understand how that stuff works. And you can't blame them, because they're not from the legal profession. They don't necessarily.
Yeah,
they're young people.
They're not like business minded.
Yeah.
Business acumen can go a long way. But there we go. So that's our answer, I think.
Yeah. Well, I have one more thing actually to add to this, because I think it's also very huge.
Worth noting, Dan has a legal background as well.
Oh, I don't really have a legal background.
Well, you're a law nerd.
Well, I did a couple of years of law before dropping out of law school. If that counts as a legal background, I don't think it does.
You're a law nerd.
Anyway, so the other thing I was going to say is, the other very worrying aspect could, for the personal development thing, is like the extreme amount of attention that the top players get. You mentioned Simple as almost not a victim of this essentially, but as someone who's experienced this, and it may not have mixed well with his personality potentially. I think this is kind of an unnatural, like being exposed to that level of attention is kind of unnatural. I think it can result, like the stardom thing can result in some bad choices, and you can get some people
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, well, maybe I try to pick my words carefully, but I don't think it's a good thing. I guess that's all anyone needs to say. I mean, you agree, right? It's the necessary.
You need to know how to deal with it. Maybe a bit of guidance can be helpful.
That's the thing, actually. Yeah, it's totally fine if you have the right guidance put in place by the teams. Actually, they should definitely be doing this.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's the end of the questions. So we'll leave it to producer Reese to select somebody to win a StatTrak USPS Orion, which we can deliver to you today. I don't know where that accent came from.
Toy day.
The winner is Official Fraggy.
Official Fraggy. Don't believe the frauds. This one's official. So congratulations to you. You've won a StatTrak USPS Orion. Bloody blah. Send us a trade link. We'll send you a gun. Great. Congrats.
Nice. Well, so I guess that's the end of the FPL show for today. Next week, I guess we'll be away.
Yes, we shall be in Sweden, Dan.
Well, I guess you can just watch this space. We'll put some announcements out there when we're next going to
watch the LAN instead.
Yeah, watch the LAN. Watch the LAN.
Because it'll be on Thursday to Saturday, so yeah, there we go.
Yep, and the FPL shows will be continuing, and they'll be more and more interesting as time goes on. It'll be very, very cool to see how this develops. And to close the show, as usual, we have a little bit of a video. Of course, we've been featuring, as James mentioned, a lot of the POV videos on FACEIT.com. That's correct, right?
Yes.
So you can go watch those POV videos on FACEIT.com, but just throw in a bit of flavor. I selected a few rounds from one of them recently and did a little bit of a narrative over the top. It is Karrigan on Dust 2 against G2.
So this is that classic 3 versus 2 retake situation, or 2 versus 3 I should say, as Crims is going to be coming in from the B-bomb site, left with Pronax. And first things first is to get his way through Arch. Luckily a smoke here is going to make life a little bit easier because he can peek out a little bit more before being visible to the left to get the information on what's going on towards the right. And then the decision comes, does he go and join Pronax on short, or does he go through Little Pit? Now Little Pit I think is definitely very good in this situation because the T's haven't had much time to set up, so it's unlikely they can be in Graveyard, it's unlikely they can necessarily even be in the pit, and the teammates of fnatic might have been able to give that information. But this also creates a spot where you can trade, it's just a little bit more complicated because you're not coming from the same position, and you can really catch good engagements off of the distraction, and that's exactly what happened. Pronax was in there with the distraction, and Crims was able to take both players down. So good fast thinking out of fnatic. So here we have a nice situation for fnatic. They've managed to kill 35 seconds away from the clock already, and they're holding the sandbags, or Crims is holding the sandbags position at the top of Banana. And this is really good if you can have this level of control, of course, on the CT side, because you really restrict the options of the terrorists. They can't do nearly as much, and if they want to go for a push towards B, they really need this area. They have to invest resources in flushing you out, because if Crims here is able to jump on top of the carve behind the smoke and just freely spam through, and he's got the support of a teammate as well through nades and potential trades if it goes badly for him. But you can see how free that kind of peak was due to the fact that they're playing kind of the middle smokes. And if the T's wanted to go and pressure into A, then their rotation towards B is going to really suck, and fnatic will have all the information, and you can push for more information if you want. If you want to really actually expend one player, let's say Crims, let's say, okay, you're expendable because we have a player lead, you can push him down Banana, and he's doing quite well in a situation like this, so boom, it's a nice play, and it's going to work out well for fnatic in this round. So this is one of those classic situations whereby you're going to lose a man, you're down 4 versus 4 versus 5, because you've gone for the deep banana play, but that's where this can really pay off, this deep banana play, because what it does is it allows for you to actually sacrifice a player back towards A, because the T's, they can't really push B, or in theory they shouldn't be able to push B fast enough, because you'll have a guy who's there to spot, he can rotate back, he can delay them, he can throw smokes and flashes, that allows the A players, the 3 players on A, the reinforced A site, to rotate back to be in time to defend the bomb site. Whereas if the T's go for the A attack, you can't really effectively have the same play. So that's why you want to have 3 players there. And Crims in this situation, because his team gave up Archway because they lost a guy, he has to re-enter, he has to get the information. And luckily for Crims in this situation, he's just going to be able to capitalize on the fact that the push comes in and he can sandwich them at the correct time. So here Fnatic are in a spot where they're playing anti-eco, and they're applying this strategy of taking mid control. They're doing it fairly defensively. Some teams like to actually push down middle, but basically creating a firing range with all these players with the rifles is a really strong move. And you can sandwich with the players on the banana, just they can push down as well, create that sandwich. But this time it didn't go so well for Fnatic. They lose the guy on banana, they're going to lose the guy in apps, and Crims is going to respond by pre-firing in apps, which is really smart because you can basically close your eyes, peek and pre-fire that, because it's such an enclosed space, it's hard to go wrong really, and you have such a fast firing time that you could probably take down somebody who's on the angle very quickly. Anyway, he's gonna have to go to the bomb site now because he has no support towards the A bomb site. He's got no one to play with, so he's stuck in this corner. He could go to pit in theory, but generally speaking, hiding the site's fine. And in the spot, he needs to find out what's going on. So goes for some inflation because they just don't have any idea of what's going on in the map. And he's Crims, so he's gonna get 3k. Now this is a cool round because of a few reasons. Firstly, Crims, of course, he's on a deagle, as you can see, and there's not many nades on the team. It's a bit of a force-up, to be honest, from Fnatic. But one thing to note, and we'll come back to this in a moment, is that Flush has pushed up Banana, and there's no challenge there from him for G2. But we'll come back to that. Crims will flash into the bedroom to make sure that he can jump up into apartments to just clear some map control, just force some space away from the CTs. And then he waits to see if there's going to be peek on boiler, just to see basically you know, okay, can my team get into position first before I can make my next move? Now his team's in position to attack into middle. He's going to fluff the flash and somehow pick up the kill on this. I don't know if Rain was skiing on the roof there, but Crims still get the frag. But this is the key thing right now, because they have a decision right now. Do they push into the unknown A, or do they attack into B, when it's very likely they could have caused a rotation? And of course they're going to rotate back and go into B, all because Flusher was there and he pushed up Banana all by himself, and there was never a challenge there from G2. And this is what we were talking about earlier on, is that, you know, Fnatic are very heavy on making sure that they never would give up the top of Banana at the very least. And this is one of the reasons why you eliminate the double back option for the Ts, or it's at least much more risky and much more difficult as an option. And of course the bomb's going to go down, and it didn't go so well because there's a good defense from G2. But this situation for Fnatic is at least a winnable one off of a terrible buy where they didn't really have any grenades to work with. So you can definitely say that that is somewhat of a success in that sense. And here by the Orange's position is going to finally get eliminated. But good round overall from Fnatic. So here Crims now is going to be taking bedroom control or apartments control. But he would be tasked with dealing with bedroom for his teammates. And this time it's with grenades and actual utility. And an AK as well instead of just a Beagle. So we'll see him using an HE and a Molotov. So that's a nice little combination because, of course, you know, the HE, if there's somebody in there, will do a bit of damage, and then the Molotov will force them out of position, and you can finish them off with the AK pretty guaranteed, hopefully, is the plan at least. And you can see the position that he's taking to throw that Molotov there. And that's going to allow his teammates to get into apartments as well. And from this position, after you take the apartments, it is just waiting on your teammates to move up middle and do their jobs respectively, and then to coordinate the push. So now Crims is just waiting, and of course there's a smoke down there, so the smoke needs to clear before he can really do all that much. And he's going to pull out a smoke as well and get the smoke onto Archway, so that's what he's going to be doing next after watching just quickly for a peek here. So this is going to be crisp. They've got to trim off all the fat of this play. You don't want to see any redundancies from the movements. You can see it's very simple. Each job is very clear cut as to what he has to do. And now that the smoke has gone down an arch, you can start pushing him with the pop flash. You can see the double peek there with the AWP of Olafmeister. And then you can see how they just move towards onto the bomb site. Teammates cleared pit from balcony, sorry, and Crims gets himself into graveyard. So not much movement from Crims. If you imagine the angles that he checked, it's very clear cut. And once again, we're going to see Crims making his way to clear second mid to get himself into apartments. And you know, it's Inferno. These are the defaults that you see very commonly, and you can see him spraying down the bedroom, making sure that apartments is under pressure, because again, they know that the buy is going to be pretty weak for G2. It's quite likely that they could be in there, but generally speaking, you can invest resources to do this anyway if your economy is good as the T side. That's why having a good economy is nice, because it allows you to always tick all the boxes basically. Make sure that you are going to be as safe as possible. You are going to get the Molotovs on bedroom. You are going to be able to use the nades to clear the dodgy positions, and we'll see that he'll be able to clear out apartments with Olafmeister in the end. And you just got to pay attention to his movement, because Crims, everything he's doing is by design for Fnatic and the role in which he serves in the team, based on how many people are alive and what roles need to be filled the most. And in this instance, you can see that he is the player that is the furthest back towards short side, so he's covering quickly for the bomb, so he can actually trade if stuff goes badly onto the site because he's so close to short, but at the same time he's also able to stop any players rotating through arch side. So very simple job from Crims, but it serves its purpose wonderfully, and he pulls it off expertly as well. So there you go.